All right, recording has begun. All right. Hello, everyone. I am so excited and thrilled to have Jean Elliott here. She is the designer and owner of Tanjerine Studios. She is also a former Miss China Chicago 2022 Congeniality. Jean, can you say hello to everyone?
Hello, everybody.
Yay! Okay, I'm just gonna dive right in. So, I know that pageantry kind of found you rather than the other way around. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I had just moved to Chicago and I was looking for friends and I was also looking for models specifically for my new little brand that I had started, Tangerine Studios. I had reached out to this page called, oh gosh, Chicago Asian Midwest something something. And Victoria Lee found my post and she responded and was like, "Hey, I'm participating in a pageant. There's a lot of girls who would want to model, and you should join." And I was like, "Oh my God, no, I don't do pageants." And yeah, no, she just explained to me it was very much not your stereotypical, like, I would say not stereotypical, but like perception of stereotypical pageants where, you have to like pretty and you have to like, not eat and that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, she explained it very well and it seemed very intriguing. So I signed up.
Woo, woo! And now you're here, and you became the Miss Congeniality. And what were some of the considerations that you had in participating?
You mean like things that stopped me or things that made me want to participate?
Both.
Okay. The one thing that really stopped me was the talent because I was just like, oh my God, I don't have a talent because like I'm not musical, I don't sing, I don't dance. Noah, my husband, suggested that I juggle a ball on stage, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. So that really stopped me up. But then Victoria told me that that was not a requirement, so that was great. Some of the things that really drove me to get involved and to do it was the like friendship aspect, the community aspect, and obviously like I need to practice my public speaking all the time, and so that was super beneficial in that way for me as well.
Love it, love it. And I know you said the first reason was making friends. So, did you end up making friends? How was the sisterhood?
Yeah, no, I am still very close with more than half the contestants. One of them, is in New York, and I'll go see her sometimes. And one is in, gosh, did she move to Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
She's in Ohio, so I still chat with her, and then the rest are still here. So it's great.
And you're still here.
And I'm still here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
And so, if you had some main takeaways from your participation as a contestant, what would it be?
Um, I feel like definitely the contestants, at least from the selection process, Victoria Ing, you do a really good job vetting people who are very encouraging, people who want to be there, um, and yeah, people worth being friends with.
Oh,
So.
thank you. And then when you became a title holder, was there like this shift or transition in like perspective, mindset, like the way you approached everything?
Regarding the pageant or like just being in Chicago?
Oh, pageant.
Honestly, I wouldn't say so. I mean, like just joining the pageant really shifted my mindset, but then once I became a title holder, which was super fun, it was it was just cool like being able to go and like wear the title and like have conversations about it because and then people are always so funny too because the congenialities, they're like, oh my God, you look nice, like the nice one, and I was like, yeah. And then you get really weird, or I would get odd comments where people would be like, that's the best title, like you don't want to be queen, and I was like, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, and so it's just, yeah, interacting with people with a sash on is pretty goofy because they do treat you different. They treat you like you're like this like thing. I don't know, not in a bad way, but you do get treated different when you have something on like that.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. So, so aside from wearing the sash and crown to events, you also did a lot of your own community work. You did a combination of sewing and soccer. How did that come to be?
So we were kind of directed to select a platform that we wanted to focus on for our community speech slash platform for the pageant. And I couldn't quite decide on one or the other just because they're both so much a part of my life. So I settled on both. I think having those different outlets, whether like artistic outlets and then athletic outlets, are always good for anybody, whether they're considered good at them or not. Um, I got to volunteer with CMAA and Chicago Dragons Athletic Association a lot during 22 and 23. I've definitely had to drop off on volunteering for both of those organizations recently because of like how busy my work has gotten. But yeah, it was super awesome getting to be connected with those organizations, and I'm still connected with them. I just don't get to go as much as I used to.
I don't think you, well, for those of you who are watching, Jean is an extremely hardworking and humble person. So even though she talked so much about dropping off recently, she had done so much with both of those organizations. And before I get into that bit, I want to take a step back for a second and ask you about your story of how you came into loving both of those things.
Yeah, soccer definitely started when I was 5. My parents took me to, like any kid, they're like, oh, try all the sports. And I just really liked soccer. Obviously, I was not good at it until probably like, I don't know, maybe 5th grade. And then I just continued to play through middle school, high school, played club in college. When I moved here, I picked up some co-ed teams. I haven't been able to really play recently because I actually cracked a rib back in like November.
What?
Yeah, did I not tell you?
No!
Yeah, I cracked. Yeah, so I just got hit really hard, and it wasn't crack. I got like a tiny little fraction in my rib, so I couldn't play for like 2 months, and then I just haven't picked it up since. And
Ouch.
then yeah, it's fine. Moving from that with sewing, I was definitely a very artsy, like craftsy kid, and my mom and dad both really encouraged that, which is super awesome. And I took AP Studio Art in high school, and then from there, somebody told me about the major product design when I was going to college. It seemed really cool, so I did that for my degree, and from there, I really started to enjoy sewing, and it has taken me where I am now, where I have my own sewing studio. And I also work part time for Tina Wong of Grace and Ivory. She is a made to measure bridal studio in Chicago. There's a
Shout
plug for you.
out. Love it. And I will get back to you and your business and Tina, but I want to go shift back gears again, or shift back again to talking about the 2 nonprofits that you were heavily involved with. Aside from our organization, by the way, Jean had a Woman Empowerment Series workshop teaching sewing, but also both CMAA and Chicago Dragons. You did a lot with them. Can you tell us a little bit more detail about both of those, both the community work that you did?
Yeah, Chicago Dragons Athletic Association. My husband and I actually, he has been super like excited about going to teach kids basketball. So basically, since May of 22, he and I every Saturday or almost every Saturday have been going and teaching kids basketball, and then for a brief time we were teaching kids soccer, which was super fun. And that's been that involvement. And let me think, CMAA, I taught a kind of a craft slash sewing course to their Young Women Warriors program, which I was also involved in. I'd say briefly. I just just don't have the time. But then I've also joined their associate board, which is super awesome. We get to go help and volunteer the events and sometimes plan some of their events. Yeah.
And what would you say would be the most memorable moment you had for each of those volunteer activities?
Um, I really, it was just with dragons. I just love the kids. They're so cute. Like the ones that are really, there's ones that are so good at basketball and just like know what they're doing, and that's really fun to watch. And then there's the ones that are just there, kind of totally spacing out, not paying attention. But like they still want to do basketball. They're just sometimes tiny, and the ball is bigger than their heads. Yeah, it's super cute. And then with CMA, I have really enjoyed getting to know the people on the associate board. They're all just like, we've all had hangouts before. They're just really awesome people, and with very different backgrounds that want to spend their time volunteering for an organization that does a lot of really good work.
Love it. I mean, the fact that Chicago Dragons keeps referring to you in their public posts and like, Jean this, Jean that. It's like, clearly you've left a huge impact on them. And then, yeah, with CMAA, I mean, their associate board has like multiplied within the last, I would say, like half year or so. And so,
yeah, they've been doing a good job recruiting.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. And another thing that Jean also is heavily involved with is our organization now as a main board member. So, and on top of that, you are also part of, or you are co-leading the Asian Fashion Show Chicago committee.
Yes.
Yes. So, we'll get back to that in a bit because I still want to get back to now your business. You are actually, as you mentioned, you're not a fashion designer by trade. You actually studied product design. So how did you end up, starting your own fashion design business?
I had a really awesome, almost like mentor / friend in college. Her name is Lindsay Johnson. She is now like one of the lead designers at On Running, which is insane. But she and I met when I was a sophomore in college, and she actually was starting her own brand called Johnson Workwear and needed some help producing the product. And I was really interested, and my skill set, she said, was like good enough for me to actually like work on the production with her. So I did that for her for on and off for about 2 years. And then I really I loved that kind of work, and I really love, I don't know, like understanding and trying to figure out how clothes are structured and how they're made. And then, yeah, just from there, I've moved on and up. So, yeah.
Love that. I think also it's so interesting how when I notice, because I have also commissioned multiple pieces from you, and every single time you approach a project, you're so detailed. Like I asked you to cut actually my evening gown for my upcoming pageant, and you cut the hem raw. I mean, you didn't hem it, like you didn't sew it together, like you actually cut it, and it was perfect. Like, how do you get that level of like that fine detail in your work? Like, what is your workflow like to get to that point?
Oh, it's not cute. I feel like, well, I don't know. As a kid, my mom would always say stuff like, "Oh, like your hands are so steady. You could have been a surgeon." Just like stuff like that. So like, there's definitely like a mixture of, I don't know, like natural ability, and then there's also, I hate that, and then there's also just being anal about things, and then also practicing. So, yeah.
Practice. And then I know that you've recently been trying new things. Like you used to specialize. Well, actually, tell me more about what you used to specialize in, and now what kind of things you're exploring.
Yeah, I started out doing a lot of upcycling and quilt jackets, and then after the pageant, I had this community of just generally Asian people who always talked about, oh, like I have this that doesn't fit me, or I want more traditional clothes for certain events and that kind of thing. And so I was able to get more into that, which is super awesome, and a lot more, I would say, niche for me, which is great because there's always people wanting to get married. There's always people who want like a chuppah or wherever. I actually have made some aoyais for friends. Yeah. And it's just been, I have, this is unfortunate. I have no structure for what I want to do and where I want to go. I just kind of think about things and I'm like, oh, that seems fun. I'm going to try that out. Definitely don't recommend that if anybody who's a designer is watching. I am kind of hitting walls a little bit, but I'm starting to try and find other things and make a actual path for myself and what I want to do.
Well, I would say that I personally have been a fan of you exploring new things. Like, I picked up 3 of your corsets. And I'm looking forward to those bags once you have more in stock. I mean, they sold out immediately. And then you had the cute hats for Lunar New Year, and that sold out immediately. It is hard to get a hold of your stuff. Tanjerine Studios is hot, and also, aside from Tanjerine Studios, aside from all this community work you do, you are also now partnering, like you said, with Tina Wong. Tell us more about how that is going. Like, what's happening?
Oh man, yeah, no, that's also really exciting. Tina, so actually I think I want to say that you connected us. I think you forwarded her email to me or connected us over email when I first joined the pageant, and we never really like connected on a deep level until very recently, because recently I've been seeing Tina at a lot more like Ace Next Gen events, which is like a Asian social networking for small businesses. And I told her about this unfortunate scenario where I had gotten through so many interviews with maybe I can say it. Yeah. I'd gotten to final interviews with Nintendo, and then they told me that I lost not lost, because it was never given to me, but like they instead hired an internal candidate instead of me, which is fine because that's what they're going to do. So I was telling Tina my tale of woe, and she's like, well, hey, I'm looking for somebody to do admin work and to help design. So that would be perfect. You want to hop on? And I said, absolutely.
And here you are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see what comes out of this partnership. And aside from this, I mean, going back a little bit in time, you have done a whole bunch of collaborations. What would you say are the ones that stood out to you the most?
I'm not sure if I would call this a collaboration or if I can, but I got to design the Lunar New Year outfits for the Chicago Lovables dance team.
Woo!
That was crazy.
Those are so sexy.
Yes, thank you, Melissa, wherever you are. If you see this, thank you. Yeah, that was super strange, and I am so happy it happened.
And the story about Melissa is so now transitioning into from the pageant stuff to the fashion show, because we also run Asian Fashion Show Chicago. How has that journey been with our fashion show?
It's been super awesome. I would want to reiterate, I'm not like super fashion-y person, but it is cool when I get the chance to show my stuff in these fashion shows, because you never know who's watching, because that's where Melissa found me and came up to me after the show, and I thought she was somebody else asking me a question. So I asked her if she was somebody else. She's like, no. I'm so glad that I did not mess that up terribly enough. But yeah, no, it's been really cool, and it's cool getting to know all the designers too, because that's, Tina was also a part of it. There's other designers that I really, really like, and yeah, just getting to have that community as well.
And so now thinking about you being the co-lead of this year's fashion show, spoiler alerts, can you share anything that you're kind of super excited about for this year?
Oh, I am really excited. I mean, just like being able to have like the sense of like power to make decisions in something that I liked so much anyway in the past is super exciting. Me and Talia, actually, the other co-lead, are meeting tomorrow to discuss like the more of the things that we need to kind of bring to the team, to bring to the committee in the following weeks and months. And yeah, it's just cool being able to make those kinds of decisions.
Okay, I look forward to hearing more about the updates. Ah, so excited. And so, like, in terms of your business and what is the future of your business, um, can you tell us more about what Tangerine perhaps 3.0 is going to potentially look like?
No.
Very
It just
fair.
I think okay. I think here okay, I'm gonna say this out loud so that maybe like somebody else hears. So I actually reached out to so one of my favorite singers in the world is Rina Sawayama, and I just was like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to her, whatever, publicist team, somebody. I reached out to I don't know, Wasserman Inc. I think is like her like North American and South American representative. And I was like, hey, this is me. I'd love to make her something. Please let me know if this is a thing. And then one of the guys responded like, yeah, we'll forward this to her management. And I was like, oh. So I'm hoping, I think it'd be super cool to be able to work with people like her that I like. And also the singer Leve, if she sees this. And her sister, I think it's Junia. Yeah, that would be cool.
Okay. I will make sure to tag them when I post because this we're manifesting it right here, right now.
Honestly, I think we did a pretty good job almost manifesting that last thing that I had, but just a little short. So maybe
So
this time.
this time, and maybe this is the even more important calling for you. This is where you were meant to go. Really,
Maybe. Yeah,
maybe,
maybe.
maybe. And so, thinking about running your business, if there's people like you kind of said here and there, like for those of you designers out there, this or not this, like what
Yeah.
are some other suggestions from your learning lessons you would share with other people?
Oh God, find somebody who knows finances. I don't. And it's a bummer that it's not as like my dad and I complain about this. My uncle who's also in finance complain about this, but like they don't make any sort of finances like available, or like financial literacy is just like not a thing that they teach, at least like where I went, and I went to like some pretty big schools. Definitely recommend that for everybody, especially small business owners. Yeah, you're gonna need it.
Yeah, totally. I think one thing that I know you said that you also learned more of was contracting. Was
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely being able to stick to your guns. And I know like it's so easy to say, but sticking to your guns on pricing and like your time and that kind of thing. Yeah, as I say this, I have like 4 projects that I probably should have charged more for and should have given myself more lead time, but it is what it is. I'm better at giving advice than getting it.
aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, other than that, I want everyone to know how can they get in touch with you to
Yeah.
either like commission business, to chat with you about any opportunities that may arise.
Definitely. I would say most of the time, if you want like my quick response, Instagram, which is tangerine.studios, tanjerine.studios, or my email, that's a little harder for me to respond back to you, but it's definitely more streamlined for me. So that is also tanjerine.studios@gmail.com. And that is it. If you have my number, you can text me there. If you don't, please don't find it. Yeah.
And if someone really wants to support Tangerine Studios, what is the thing that you would appreciate the most in terms of support?
Uh, I mean, I even just like saying like, "Hey, I like your stuff. That's awesome. And if you want to help me pay my bills, then you can buy something." Um, yeah, those 2 things. I've got a couple of markets coming up that I have posted, and hopefully I have more coming up. Those are posted in my Instagram story highlights. Yeah.
And I want to challenge you to come up with one more kind of dream reach goal? Because you mentioned 2 singers that you'd love to collaborate with, but if you could come up with one more dream that if it just happened, you would be out of your mind.
Ooh, oh, I don't know how this would ever work, but there's a designer, Cecily Banson, that I also really like. My husband bought me so she had done a collab with Asics, and he bought me those shoes for Christmas. He lied to me and said he was getting me Crocs and got me those instead.
Aww.
But I think it would be so crazy cool to do. I mean, she obviously works with like Big Ten, but anyway, doing a collab with her would be awesome, or even getting to work for her would be awesome. I don't know if that would happen, but if it does, that would be great.
All right, there we have it. So if anyone happens to know a way to make this happen, please, please, please reach out to Jean at Tanjerine Studios on Instagram. And there we have it. Any more questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments for Jean. Obviously, you don't have any concerns because she's awesome. But again, here we have it. Jean Elliott, our Miss China Chicago 2022 Congeniality owner, designer at Tanjerine Studios, doing amazing work in the community as well. And yeah.
Yay!
Yay!